G'day, everybody. This is fantastic. We've had a successful program. We had one last week, but it's been a bit of a challenge getting this going. And finally, we are live. Hello, family. Love you guys. Yeah, I know, Lynn. A lot of people are not getting my notifications at the moment. Desert, can you see the chat? Are you watching?
No, I'm in the other room.
Okay. Can we get a sound check on Desert, please, before we go any further?
Test 1, 2, 3. The emergency broadcast. It's emerging on the planet here.
Yes, it is. It is indeed. Yeah. So I'm excited. This is good. For any new listeners, you're listening to NinjaCat 111 having a chat with Dezert-Owl. Desert has found a code, and he's worked hard for what, 40 years? 40 years to over 40 years.
I started reading ancient history at age 14.
Wow. And it's a very important code because it reveals the truth about this world. And there's not much time left to learn. So I, for one, am extremely grateful that Desert is around so that he can share his knowledge, and we don't have to do as much, not quite as much of the hard work. But yeah, I'm realizing at the moment that there is a lot to learn. I come from the other side of the fence, so to speak. I grew up not believing in anything really. Didn't feel right in this world. Knew there was something very, very off. I thought and I think differently to most people. Anyway, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that if you're listening to this right now. Okay, Desert.
Yes. We meet again.
Yes, we do. Again. I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, I can see headphones and a microphone from Shelley.
Morning to everybody out there. No morning, I'm sorry. We don't want to be awake and we don't want to have a good morning, as you know the meaning of those words. So good day. That's what we got to say.
Thank you. I was hoping you would say g'day. That brings me to something that I wanted to run by you, actually, that I've been thinking about. Okay, I've already said this before many times, I think. My second language is emojis. I am not good with second languages. Okay, there's two things I want to run by you. What I've noticed lately is every once in a while, now that I'm reading more and learning more and seeing the world for what it really is, one thing I'm noticing is when I read normal words or the deception, the lies, those words, they don't look right. like English was one of my best subjects in school, and I enjoyed writing and reading back then. But now I read and I read words and they don't look right. They kind of look, it's hard to explain. They look jumbled. Like I'll look at the spelling.
Yes, because you're waking up to the code, and therefore now you can see that they don't jive.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It really is.
I had trouble spelling. I was a poor speller. Here I am writing a dictionary, and I was terrible at spelling. And so it wasn't really me. It was because they mixed up the diction. It's an engineered, bastardized, coded form of communication. It's an occult trick that they played on us. That's why people probably very often just hate school. School really should be fun. Learning should be fun.
Yeah.
And instead, he wants you to memorize all these false conceptions.
Yeah.
That are not true. They're not correct. Just like, what are the four elements? They say earth, air, water, and fire. And two of them are a lie. Two of them are not true. Okay? Because one, matter and water, all you do is flip the W and you get the M. Water, matter, those are the first two elements. Water and matter. Matter includes all material essence. And then we have oxygen, which is the most abundant element in our sphere. And then, I know some people can't handle thinking that this is a sphere, but they haven't read the scriptures correctly either, nor can they interpret them correctly. And then the other element is not fire, but it is light. You see, and so they lied to us as 2 out of 4 are a lie. And they don't give it correctly on the earth either, but there's matter. Matter it defines what earth is, you see. So really 1 out of 4 is the only one that's telling the truth. Water, that's the only one they got right. Okay? So 3 out of 4 are a lie.
Right. I get that. I was just thinking while you were speaking. It all, like, everything at the moment that I'm seeing, it all comes back to frequencies. Everything's a frequency. It vibrates. It's all making sense to me and wowing me at the same time. I'm seeing different, I'm like actually visually seeing the different frequencies. It's really bizarre, and it just makes me think frequency is vibration, and that makes me think of sound, and what is the most important sound? That would be the voice speaking. And speaking is our breath. Tell me if I'm saying this incorrectly. And yeah, it's what you've been saying on your channel. For those who don't know, the Forbidden History series with Dezert-Owl. If you're not familiar with any of this, go back and watch some of the live streams. You'll be wowed. Yeah, so where was I going? The breath. I don't know where I was going from that. Do you have something? Can you save me?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
There wasn't really a question. I was just thinking out loud. Yeah.
Well,
it's just all connected.
The lives that just like negative is really the positive symbol, and the positive symbol is really the negative symbol.
Yeah.
The minus symbol is the flow of energy, and then the hash mark that goes down the middle is what negates the flow of energy. So obviously, the plus symbol is the negative, and the minus symbol is the positive flow of energy. So they reverse that. They light into dark, dark into light. That's the nature of the occult, right?
Yeah. So A plus for a test is really an A minus.
Right.
Right.
That would be correct. Yeah.
There you go.
And then the words they give us, the words are, like the same. I said earlier, you don't want to be awake because awake is a funeral. You don't want to say good morning because why would you wish anybody a good morning?
Yeah.
That somebody would die in their family. So these are the tricks they play. It's endless. It goes on.
Desert Shelley just said maybe we shouldn't talk.
What we need to do is we need to process. If we don't say what we mean, then we don't mean what we say.
Yeah.
And so we have to define the elements of these Eshavors. That's the original word, Eshavor.
Eshavor.
Define the elements. The elements are the symbols.
Yeah.
In the makeup. They have meaning. The symbols have meanings. We have to know the meaning of the symbols first, and then we can assess the Eshavors, the words, because they are like the D, it's a symbol for darkness, and so because they hate the Father, so just like the word dead and died have a D on the front, and at the end, then they got us calling our Father Dad because they want the Father's dead because they love the Mother, Luciferian Mother, the blind goddess.
Well, what about
Father of light?
You just mentioned that because I don't know. Here we say mum and we say dad. I think that's the most that's what I grew up saying here in Australia, and mum is MUM here. MUM.
No, it's MON.
That's
MON.
MUM here.
MON. Anyway, it's but you can see the sound wave is in mum, right? The sound wave is there, and the letter M, the V is in the middle.
Yeah.
In the capital symbol, and so mum, the V is the prime element being held up by the columns on both sides, which is the V with two columns on each side creates the letter M. So the V is the virgin light or the sound wave vibration V creates the sound wave, and it's being supported by sun and moon. Sun and moon are the prime elements in our creation. In the metaphor, sun and moon are making love on Earth. The Earth is the tribal chamber, and so this is where it's happening, on Earth. This is where the interplay of the duality, the yin and the yang, the opposite polarities of light and darkness, hot and cold, in and out, up and down, all the elements, wet and dry. All the elements are here to bring forth light, and this great mystery. The moon is the symbol of darkness, and it's in the darkness, and the sun is a symbol of light, and it creates a blue sky. So it's quite a mystery. Life is a veva. The right word for life is veva. There's the V again. The veva.
Did you say life or light?
Life is viva. Viva, we hear it in Spanish in the bullring or wherever. Viva. You see, they're using the prime element, the V's, so veva, V-A-Y-V-A, with a silent T at the end of it would be life, because the A-T is the symbol of the alphabet, the code, and so veva means the way of creation.
Wow.
Veva, there's the word life. See?
Wow. Lynn just said mum upside down is wow.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. And it's snowing. It's snowing where she is.
It's snowing where?
It's snowing where Lynn is. I don't know where that is.
Oh, yeah, well, it's in the 20s over here. I'm just at the other end of the state, in Ohio.
Wow, it's middle of the night and it's still 17. Still 17 degrees here, and it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, we've been ice nucleated over here, so we're having extreme cold. so that people will imagine that we're actually going into a solar minimum of a deep, what do they call it, the ice age, you know.
Yeah, mini ice age, yeah.
Yeah, that's a trick. Even though we've had extreme temperatures now for over 400 months, according to Dane Wigington of geoengineeringwatch.org, and all the records I saw yesterday on the Higher Truth channel, 3 words Higher Truth channel, showed all the heat waves around the world, all the records, all the die-offs, all the plankton, you know, all temperatures of all water, bodies of water, including the Great Lakes and the oceans, all temperatures are rising. So anybody with half a brain can easily deduce that the cold weather is a cover, a geoengineering cover for the fact that our planet's heating up and dying. That UVC and UVB radiation is bombarding us, and the Earth is soaking it up and being charged. And within 2 years, we won't be able to grow anything anymore, and it's already happening now.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, today.
Exactly. Yeah, like you can feel the I have no other word for it. The fake cold, the manufactured cold in the wind here, because it was really hot today, really hot today, like too hot to go outside. There was no breeze. But when there is, like up until today was still, but up until today, it's been gusty, really strong gusty wind, and it's always really cold, and it feels fake. It's very strange saying it, but it feels like fake cold. I don't know how else to describe it. And I actually noticed that. Probably about 15 years ago, I just thought, like I just started noticing the chemtrails. I just was still in the mindset that Canberra's weather was just weird. Because there's always been a saying here, apparently, 4 seasons in one day for Canberra weather. But now I know better. We went back to Port Macquarie, where I'm from, and growing up there, it was very even temperature, like year round. You'd think about taking a light jacket with you if you went out in winter, just in case it got cold. Like we used to go swimming in winter. And we went back there about 15 years ago, and it was the middle of summer, and Port Macquarie also had that cold wind. It wasn't pleasant for going to the beach anymore. It wasn't nice. That cold wind was there the whole time. I remember really noticing that and didn't know why. I didn't know why it had changed. So yeah, they've been doing it for a long time. Well, since the beginning of time. Yeah.
Well, let's ask the question, where did all this technology come from? And just this past couple of days, I think it was yesterday, and reading the scriptures, that's why reading the scriptures is so important, because truth is hiding in all these sacred writings. And in the book of Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha, I just need to hang on. Okay, sorry about that. In the book, in the Apocrypha, which is the middle book in between our Old Covenant and Everlasting Covenant or New Testament, is the Apocrypha, the 16 small books that were included in that are scriptures, and they were originally in the King James Version for those narrow-minded King James thumpers that think only the King James is relevant. The Apocrypha was in it for the first 50 years, so the Apocrypha then, according to their standardization, is relevant. But in Ecclesiasticus chapter 49, verse 16, the last verse, it says, Shem and Seth were in great honor among men. Okay, Shem being, actually correctly, Asham, He took the A, as you know, off the words, and Esham and Sheth were in great honor among men, and so was, and then it says, so was Adam, who was above every living thing in the entire creation. He was above every living thing. He was the first made on earth, according to our scriptures. Then it said after that Ulufame made Adam, that then that Ulufame, the great Ulufame, took him up to the throne of the Eden, which is the throne of the sun, the atom. The atomic sun represents the atom. That which is least is like that which is greatest, and that which is greatest is like that which is the least, the atom. And the sun represents the power of creation, the atom. And he was taken up to the atom, and then all of life was evolved on the earth. He was the first made, according to our scriptures. I'm reiterating because I want people to get this in their head, because they've got to see and read it for themselves, because they corrupted our scriptures. And I'm about to do the first few chapters of Genesis just to convey this message, but I'm going somewhere with this. So Adam was the first made on earth. He was taken up to the atom, not Eden, which is a corruption, the atom, which is the throne of the sun, with Yeshua as spirit. Okay, obviously, his physical nature when he was made on earth was preserved, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. They didn't burn up, nor did the smell of fire go upon them. And same with, we read the book of Jasher, we find out Abram at the time, when he was 40 years old, was put in the fiery furnace by Nimrod. I think he was 50 years old, with Nimrod. 3 days he was in there. And so that is all symbolic of the fact that we can be in the fire metaphysically and also physically, to show that the fire does not hurt our body when we are in alignment with the purpose, with the grand design of the Yahweh, who is also the great Ulufame, who is also Yeshua, the first made, who made all things, the first atom. And that's why the sun also represents Yeshua, the great light. So it says that Adam was above every living thing in the entire, not in the entire creation, let me correct that, in the earth creation. Well, we might be able to say the entire creation, because we don't know for sure if there's life on any other planets, because we can't go there and they can't go here, and than the people that think that aliens are real. But of course, if you change the L into an R, you get Aryans, because it's all about the Aryans, and that's what I was leading up to about this technology, because Adam, being above every living thing in the entire creation, earth creation, he knew how everything operated, because as it says in our, even in the King James, right there in Genesis, the first 2 or 3 chapters, it says, then he took him, that Yahweh took him out of the atom, out of Eden, and placed him in the garden. Oh, so there's 2 gardens. There's an upper garden and a lower garden. Which one would we prefer, the darkness or the light? I think I prefer the light, to go back home where we fell from. We fell from the light. So he was taken out of the light. He fell asleep. That's the metaphor of him falling asleep, because he was being transformed in his being, and he came down to the lower garden of the earth, and he wakes up, and the first thing he sees is his other half, his negative self, we might say, if we're talking about positive and negative, because she was the weaker, she was the smaller, she was the more emotional, she was naive, but she didn't know anything. Here he was, he knew how everything operated, and then there's the Naga, and he says, by the way, if we do this thing, you won't kill us, no, baby. Don't worry about it. We're gonna have babies, and we're gonna expand our operation here. We're going to expand, and so he tricked her, and she blamed the serpent. The serpent is the Naga, and Naga means navigator, and the navigator and the Naga, the one who knew all things, as it says right here, was Adam. He was the one who knew more than anybody else. It says right here, Adam was above every living thing in the entire creation. And so you see, there's the Aryan. Aryan came last. He was first in creation on earth, just like Yeshua was the first made in the entire universe, Adam was the first made on the planet, on Earth, after Earth came out of the sun and was here as an orb waiting for life to grow. And so he was the first made before all of other life evolved on Earth. Man was spontaneously generated, but all of the rest of creation that belongs here, man doesn't belong here. He's foreign. But all of life, as we see, even today, evolution continues. It never ends. Life is always spontaneously being evolved on this planet. It's 6 billion, our universe is 6 billion years old according to the scriptures, not 6 24-hour periods. That's the great priesthood lie. They don't want, they get us to buy into the great lie, and we can't even see what's in front of our face. The age of this earth is so evident when you look at all the geological structures, So Adam, so he knew that when he gave man this kind of knowledge, because there's only one perfect creation, and that's Yeshua. Therefore, because man and Yeshua was made by Yahweh, but Adam wasn't made by Yahweh. Adam was made by Elohim. And so because the Elohim is a lower creation and not Yahweh, therefore the lower creation cannot create something greater than itself, meaning perfect. Only Yahweh could make something perfect. And so the creation then, therefore, when he put this kind of knowledge in the blood of the earth, correct, for man, because man means criminal and sinner, and worse in the Babylonian Talmud. So he knew what he wanted to do was to use man's own engineering, his own ego, and his own, but to give him free will. That he would then, he knew that ultimately then in the fall, that they were destined to fall because they were in the fall. They had to fall. They had to fail. Because it was pre-designed when we're in the darkness. Darkness meaning also in the blindness. That we are blind to our own ego, blind to our own self, blind to our own true nature. But the Beit Koresh, the watchers weren't. They knew where they come from. But yet, so they consciously, not through ignorance, but consciously through deception and through organization in the first conspiracy to go against the one who made all things and to deny the light of truth and to make a covenant relationship. The first group of Beit Koresh, correct, the original thought on the Indo-Germanic, the Beit Koresh, they 200 of them made the first blood covenant oath that they would betray their birthright and go to take over the world. They wanted to conquer the world. They had the knowledge. And so that's where we got the technology from, not the primitives. The others were living primitively on the earth, the Cro-Magnon, the Neanderthal, the African, the Asian. All of these others came before. The Aryan was first, but he was up in the throne of the sun, and it said that he allowed Adam to name all things. It said Adam even named all the things of the creation that came to be on this planet. It said that Yahweh, the Elohim, wanted to see what he would name them. All those things are literally there. It's just that they twisted the story so nobody can see things clearly in the story. And so the Aryan comes last. He was the first mate, but he came last. Why? Because he represented the light of the sun. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white skin, but he would suppose his intention was to bring truth to mankind. But because of the ego, he fell. Yet not all of them fell. Enoch didn't fall, nor did Methuselah, or nor did Noah, nor Asham, who was also Melchizedek, who made the Giza pyramid, which correctly is Gizar. The Gizar period for seeing.
Wow.
The numbers of the stars are the circumference of the earth, the distance to the sun, the size of the moon, all in the numerical measurements of the Gizar period. You're hearing it here first.
I reckon.
You can see it's in the word. Gizar is an abbreviation of Gazar. Gazar for looking. I'm gazing, looking, and it tells the entire creation that it makes sense that the one who made the cosmos would also be the ones who made the greatest pyramid of them all after they made all their little pyramids, and then he says, well, now I'm going to make the most complicated, the most unbelievable. It didn't do it in 20 years, as they say, it was 100 years. And I just read in Yeshan just last night that Shem Asham lived to be 600 years old, and after the flood, and Jacob was with him for 30 years to get the final legacy of information about the truth, the seed of light that we want to be. So not all of them fell. The truth still came to the Aryan race, and that's who Yeshua is, and was, as the blood of the earth was blonde hair, blue-eyed, white skin. Now, just to stop for a moment, I just wanted to qualify. They were supposed to deliver the truth to the rest of mankind. We are all in the same boat, whether you're black, brown, yellow, red, whatever you are. We are all foreigners and spontaneously generated by the wood of Hain. We did not evolve from apes. We are all of a higher creation. And Yeshua was making us different throughout the process so that we would then even be tested in our psyche with our differences, because we all, use those differences, to attack each other and to create schism in our world, and that's what it's done. So there's another form of fabrication in our creation, because it could have been all one kind, but it wasn't all one kind. But yet it was the Aryan who was chosen because he represented the light of the sun, truth, that was supposed to come down and bring truth, but instead he fell due to ego, because he knew how everything operated in the universe, knew that he could capture the world through technology, and that's what he did. So all of the technology is the third world. They always refer to the third world as those in poverty, but the true third world is the technological world, because the first world is the spirit world, the second world is natural creation, the nature, and that's a matrix in itself that's telling a story. Then the third world is the technological world that they wanted to rule us with, and that's what they've done. Have they not? They give it the technology, but it always serves two purposes: light and darkness. And our light that we get from them is only a phony light, because always we find out that the technologies are used for the greatest evil, to use another code. Okay.
Wow. Wow. Just all the stuff about the pyramids. Wow. I'm gonna have to listen to this again anyway, Desert, just to let it all sink in. Lynn just,
quite a legacy.
yeah.
That's a story that's not being told.
Yeah. Wow.
It's called the forbidden history.
Yes. Yes. And what I'm also seeing so much of lately in the present is all the deception matching the truth, and that's the perfect way to confuse and deceive everybody, having it like running parallel and
so
like having the fake run parallel with what's true. And wow.
Yeah, right. There's two worlds, and there's the false and the true. And so Yeshua, therefore, putting in the ego and the mind of man, criminal and sinner, blood of the earth, the Adam, which means blood of the earth, correctly, not man. Man is moon, which is the Luciferian darkness. He putting this knowledge in him. He was going to use him. He was going to allow him to do what he wanted to do, give him free will, and therefore then Yeshua was going to ride the dragon. He was going to go along for the ride in the great mystery, the serpent, the white serpent, entangled with the black serpent, twisting like in the caduceus, where you see the two serpents in the what they call the medical staff, twisting together up the staff. The circle at the top of the staff is the sun, and it means that the serpent is riding back towards the light, towards the sun, or if it's the occultic, then I guess it would be towards the moon. But he was going to use their own ego, their own fallen nature, and their own corruption to go along for the ride, to institute his own purpose within mankind. So the technological does serve Yeshua, while it has used for great evil within our world. It's because, in other words, this technology, just like we're talking to people around the world right now, speaking truth. Well, we couldn't do that if the ancient Bangladesh, the fallen ones, didn't create this technological age. Then we would never know each other. We would never meet each other because we would all be on our own continent. In fact, we wouldn't even be on these continents probably because the technology wouldn't be there to cross the oceans the way they did with the navigation of the stars and all the things that developed through the great knowledge that was given to the Aryan in particular.
Wow. Lynn, can I just tell you... Sorry to interrupt. Lynn just said in the chat, like when you were talking about the pyramids, that's why I wanted to get to it before we moved on. I'm just trying to get it back. The white capstones on the Great Giza Pyramid had 144,000 stones.
Yeah, the casing stones.
Yes.
The outer casing,
yes.
Which was a different constituent than the inner layers, because there was, an electro, connection between all the different elements that were in the pyramid to create perhaps an energy vortex, perhaps.
Frequencies again.
A lot of mystery.
Yeah.
A lot of mystery, but the main thing was, as it said in Enoch, that it was to remain a monument, a declaration of the greatness of the one who made the cosmos, and to remember the flood. It was to be written about as a memorial of the great flood, because it was built prior to the flood. All the things they told us about when it's built, all this, everything we're being told, everything is a lie. The only thing that got close was they called it the Giza, when it was merely an abbreviation of the Gazar. And Zar is star, so it means gazing at the stars. That's because the Earth is a star, also the Moon is a star, and the planets are stars. And even though we call them planets, they're still miniature stars. They came from a star, so if you come from a star, you must be a star, right? And we came from the stars. That's why he told Abraham that that two seeds would come out of him. One would be of the Earth, the other would be of the stars of heaven. So we have to be illuminated like the stars in the metaphor. So it's a powerful story that we have here on Earth, and so then it was Islam who took all those casing stones off. They stripped it. Imagine those white casing stones. They would have shone like a star on the planet.
Yeah.
And from a large distance, you would be able to see the sun shining and reflecting on that monument. And it was all destroyed, just like they destroy all of Islam destroys all the ancient monuments, like on the Silk Road, the statues of Buddha. Buddha never said to make any statues of them, but of course, when Buddhism became corrupted by the Hindu Aryan fallen ones, because they corrupt everything that they touch, they control all religion. But then Islam, when it came, they defaced all monuments. That's what they do. All the damaged monuments around the world by Islam, So they're like, even in the pillars, those giant pillars in the temples in Mezar, correctly, not Egypt. It never was Egypt. That's another lie. At the top, they have those pictures of the woman in those columns, and they even destroyed it. They blamed it on the Christians, but it was all Islam that did all the damage. They were working for the Vatican and destroying the remnants of the ancient past that might tip us off into truth, because they have to cover their trail. And so that's what they do throughout history. That's why they're willing to blow up our world. As we see, they're blowing up our world now, all with all technology. They don't mind destroying the world because they have all the ancient records in their little basement somewhere. Whether it's the Vatican or somewhere else, even beyond the Vatican, which no doubt they do. They don't operate out of the Vatican. The Vatican is the corporate office. That's the front office. They're running the world secretly, out of India and Tibet, Burma, and in particular, that would be the most ancient enclave. But then modernly, they're also in Switzerland running the Vatican, the Chronicles line, as well as the ancient Hindu. The Hindu element is relevant, but it still goes back to the Aryan primarily. So, it's quite a legacy, and nobody gets it. But that's why a lot of the things come out of Switzerland from the Great Collider, which is just another diversion. They're not going to blow up our universe. They can't do it. They're blowing up our world. They destroyed our world, but things will go on. LSD came out of Switzerland.
Really? I didn't know that.
The internet.
Wow.
What's that?
The LSD, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah. The internet came out of Switzerland, but then they gave a credit to the the U.S. military because they do that. The U.S. was supposed to be first in everything, make them look like they're better than everybody else. First in the phone, first in flight, first in this, first in that, all big lies. It's a prop, it's a show. Now just like in China, everything's bigger. The biggest dam, the biggest the biggest nation, more people, the biggest everything, right? The biggest everything, and that's how they do the biggest satellite dish. They got the biggest, and that's the game. How the game is played to impress the people of their own land at the time they're doing it. It's just a shell game, and it's working on a 500-year cycle with the phony creation of their phoenix, and the phoenix flies back to Egypt, mates off, and burns up in the ashes. Out comes another serpent, and the new serpent is China, which is code for Cana. There's Canaan all over again, full circle around the earth, and Cana. And because it's not China, it never was. It was Formosa back 100 years ago. And the USA, nobody knows this, but I read the intelligence papers, some of them, and USA created communist China because U.S. is a red, white, and blue pastel color communist nation, and they're all the same, all run by the Khazars for the Vatican, and it's the greatest show on earth, and I'm sick of it, absolutely sick of it.
Wow, yeah, so am I. And I don't know anywhere near as much as what you do. But yeah, I think we're all starting to feel that way at the moment.
What we just saw them do to just within this past month to those people in paradise, paradise being a metaphor. They want to kill paradise. Well, it looks like they literally destroyed tens of thousands of people. It appears it could be true because apparently all those cars on the side of the road and school buses were all filled with people that were just laying down on the floor, burned, disintegrated, practically disintegrated, nothing left but bones and teeth. And they've committed now mass genocide in front of everybody in Technicolor, on television, on the internet. We've witnessed mass genocide before our eyes. Nobody can stop them. They're not going to. Nothing can stop it. Okay, these people are so powerful that the media is in the corner. The Khazarian Jewish media and the and the military all run by factions that are so powerful. They've killed all the good people, or they kicked them out. It's all the darkness, that's running it. So it's not our world. That's the good news. The good news is it's not our world, and our eternal nature needs to be defined, and the truth about who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are needs to be defined, because we have to identify with what's within and not with what's out there, because what's out there is the illusion. What is real is within us, and the spark of eternity is in us, and it has to be ignited through the truth that comes to our scriptures.
Wow, and yes, and wow again. Yeah, I'm 100% with everything you're saying. As you're talking, I keep trying to think of challenging questions because I know that you can answer just anything I throw at you, and I can't think of any because what you're saying is the truth.
I wouldn't say you can answer everything, though. Ninja, I've dedicated my life to study and to unraveling the mysteries, but yet Yeshua is the one who reveals, and still I'm learning. We still learn every day.
Yeah. Well, I said that wrong, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to be silent, which would be tacit agreement, so I had to qualify that.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I'm seeing that. Like I've said before, like I was programmed in school, but always felt out of place. Was never religious, so never was familiar with the scriptures. Never believed in anything, but was always looking for truth and something to believe in. And now that I have allowed myself to do that, and I can approach the truth, like the true written word, like the way it was written properly. My words are fantastic this evening. Yeah, I'm reading it the right way, and believing, and I can feel it. I can't think of where I was going with that now. It's like 3 a.m. here, so please excuse me. Just it's true. I just want to back you up with everything you're saying, because it's true. It's not our world, and the only way to see the deception and how extreme it is, because all these things are happening right now, and most of the world can't see it, or they don't care. I was watching that video on the fire that you were explaining about, talking about with the cars and the people and in the buses. I was watching that in tears the other day, and my neighbours, I have to say this a little bit quieter so that they don't hear me. My neighbours were in their backyard being very vocal, and the most important thing to them at that time was drinking, revving their cars, and teaching one of the children how to chuck a wheelie on a BMX like it was the most important thing in the world. And I was just absolutely disgusted, like sitting here crying, watching a video of what's really going on, and everyone's oblivious. And yeah, so I'm really glad we got this working tonight, Desert. Yeah. You were going to say? Sorry?
well, it's just that, the people, there's the engineering of our world, being a phony matrix. It's, they got people into sensuality, and so everything that they do is to give pleasure to the senses.
Yeah.
Visually, physically, emotionally, internally with, like satisfaction of food. So it's a sensual world, and therefore they've done everything to capture our senses, our outer senses, but our great inner sense of mechanism that can see truth clearly. In other words, we're, as I sometimes talk about, that there is no perfect book, because all of the writings have been corrupted by priesthoods, and therefore that has to be unraveled. And that's why when I said Yeshua came down, he rode along for the ride through the technology, because he's the one who can reveal the code and decode it, and that's what he did with me with the words. But the perfect book is the mind. The mind is still capable of putting on the perfection of thought and action, but yet it's a work, because we have to first be deprogrammed, and we have to then see things for ourselves, and then to make our connection with the one who made all things, the light of Yeshua, who stands for Yahweh, because Yahweh is so great he can't even be in this universe, because if he did, he is so great everything would be destroyed. So Yeshua is the intermediary, and his son is Sharfan, in the terminology of the servant hand, which is what serpent was also expressive of. He is the serpent hand. The serpent is everything. Everything is the serpent. Everything spins. Everything constantly moves. And so this is part of the great mystery. And when we put on that light, then we begin to grow. But first we have to die to this world, and that's why he said that we have to be twice born, or born again, because the first creation was in the fall, and so then that's when Yahweh takes over from what Elohim made, which couldn't make perfectly because Elohim is a lower creation, and so it had to start in the fall, and then by consciously acknowledging the error of lower creation, then when we go through the stargate of the water and we come up in a covenant relationship with our one who made all things, and then he can interact with us. And not that he wouldn't prior to our immersion, because he does. He interacts with people at all times for different ways.
I know he was. I know he was right by my side for my entire life.
Yeah, well, he's the one who calls us. He's the one who calls us out of this world. He's always shining his light on us all the time, but we don't ever
I didn't know it.
Where that light comes from.
Yeah.
It's a great symbol, the logo.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't want to call it a poem, but it's more like a poem. Footprints in the sand. Like, do you remember that?
Well, I remember the picture and like a quote, but I don't remember a book called that. Vaguely.
Yeah, I can't remember it word for word, but it was talking about struggling, like somebody struggling for their entire life, being alone for their entire life, and where was Yeshua during all those struggles, and I'm not saying it right.
Right, he's always there. In other words,
and he was carrying the person through while they were struggling. And that's why there was only one set of footprints, because Yeshua was carrying the person when the person thought that they were alone. If that sounds right, I'll find it for the next stream and I'll read it. There you go. Yeah, it's beautiful. Like that was my life. I now know that Yeshua was there the whole time, showing me the way and making sure that I don't know, making sure that I didn't do anything stupid enough to, like, keeping me alive. And guiding,
we're also told to make our calling and election sure, and therefore it is a work that we are constantly having to maintain and constantly growing, because everything's in flux. Either we're going up or we're going down.
Yeah.
We're never at the same altitude all the time. We're going to have to continue to go up and get closer to him. It's a developing relationship, and he's the only source of love, and so we cannot define love without him, because in the world it's only selfish love.
Yeah.
And so it's not a love. Love is, forfeits self for the greater cause. It's a great mystery. Anyone got any questions out there? Or, certainly we'd be glad to try to help anybody out if they're figuring stuff out. Do you have a few listeners, I assume, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking. A lot of... I don't see any questions, but I see a lot of participation. Okay. That's good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, have them put my name in all capital letters if it's a question directed to me. That way it's easier to see.
Yeah. If anyone has a question for Desert, I'll keep an eye on the chat. Just put his name in capital letters, and I'll do my best to read. Just trying to, just looking at the chat, Desert, sorry. One thing I did want to mention, I don't know if this is anything, but it has been on my mind. Talking about languages and how everything we speak and write and have been taught is a lie. You've noticed, or you might have noticed that the way I speak is very casual. I call it lazy Aussie speak because I don't pronounce things. I shorten words. I don't pronounce things very well, and have a lot of trouble saying a lot of like certain words. But anyway, what I'm getting at is what I've noticed is the Aussie lingo is closer. Like I'm just saying a little bit closer, like a little bit less of a lie than speaking properly. Do you get that? Like Aussie, yeah, and it's more relaxed and it feels more comfortable speaking that way rather than speaking perfectly using words that are a lie. I've just noticed with the Aussie lingo, like g'day, we have started saying g'day instead of good morning. And that's Aussie lingo. We shorten things and we end a lot of words with O or Y. And just little things like that. Like it feels more natural, and maybe that's why it feels closer to how we should be. Like it feels more true. So kind of half joking. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, good. Okay. Lynn just said perfect English is far from perfect. Yes, exactly.
Well, we're going back to Indo-Germanic in the programming that I'm doing because all of it's been corrupted, and when we go back, that's when it reveals its true light, and it's just astonishing to see the connections being made, like navigator, navigator. There's meaning in all those root components. Now means that which came down. Ve means the way. Gay is, of course, we know they corrupted the word gay, but gay was the eye of the sun, the perfect light, and that's why they did the corruption with it, because they hate the light. And Tor means the power of the spin, everything that is spinning, the power. That's where we get the big picture in the bowl, Torah, Torah. And other words, a word would be Shavor. The word means the royal center, and that is the royal center. Communication is the royal center. There's no greater center than the element of communication that came out in the great sea of vibrations that brought forth the creation. Obviously, we had to have a way to communicate. So it's endless. They corrupted our words. Bless should be Baruch, means being born of the endowment and the enlightenment with the mind's eye for seeing in the night. When Yeshua was called the only beloved, that was a corruption. It's not the only beloved. It means he's the only loved seed. There's still a debate going on about what the seed line thing is all about. They don't get it. It's either the seed of light or seed of darkness. And Yeshua, when he came up out of the water, the great Father yelled, "Hey, breathe!" This is my only loved seed. Give him your ear. Hear him. So his only loved seed, he is the only loved. So if we want to be loved in the true light, then we have to be in him through the operation of being born a second time, through the stargate of light, the entrance into eternity, eternity. And all words are corrupted, all of them. And therefore, we have to learn the reality, and then it tells a story. And that's what, as you know, we do on the Forbidden History series on my channel. So then I'm now, thanks to one of our wonderful friends and sisters, without giving out names, to rob them of their bottle cane. But we've been finally given, after a year of searching, given a word program that I can use, because Windows 10 doesn't come with it anymore. We couldn't afford it, or whatever, or I didn't even know how to get it, and because that's not my bag, I don't do technology on this ancient writings in dirt and caves, and so now I'll be doing a transliteration of the scriptures again. I've been down for a year, but now, and we'll reveal what the lies. And as I say on the program as well, that if you want to know the truth, the best way to know the truth is to identify all the lies. Then it gets real easy to identify the truth. The lies are all in our face.
Yeah.
Virtually everything we hear is a lie.
Yeah.
So we have to examine everything closely, and then the truth will come through. It's hiding right behind it.
Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, the only way we can do that, the only way we can see it, is to turn inwards, and that like you were saying about the different senses, like sight and hearing, and yeah, we'll go with seeing and hearing. I know that is changing, like with me, since I've started turning inwards, and yeah, it's amazing and bizarre at the same time. Like my physical sight and my hearing is changing, Desert.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to hear some good lies, just go listen to a politician, go listen to the news, or go listen to the preachers at the pulpit. You'll hear all the lies you ever want to hear. Go to school.
Yeah.
Go to school.
Just walk down the street.
Ed means remove.
Yeah.
Ed means remove. And that's what they removed what we wanted to know from our curriculum. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, sorry, I'm wowing and looking at the chat.
Did we do enough damage today, do you think, or do we want to go anywhere else? I know we got a late start.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm kind of wordless at the moment, and you've been talking a lot, so you need a break. So it's my turn to talk. I don't know. I'm loving it. I'd like to keep going, but do you want to take a little break? We'll put on some music and take a little break. Maybe just go for a little bit longer.
No,
or are you done?
Just fill the gap, and then, because I'm still sitting up in bed right now, and I need to get on with the day. But if we want to cap it off with the final direction you want to go in, and we can do that. Then we're still testing, as your listeners, I think, know. We're testing the system to try to get it working right, and you still need to assess this audio quality we're doing here. Again, you need to do a review.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, by next week we'll have a pretty good production going, and for you and for your friends out there. So, and by the way, what time are we on? We're on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time, every Wednesday technically, right?
Yeah. It's ended up being half an hour late each time. We'll aim for earlier because it's now Aussie time, 3:15 a.m. I'm wide awake because I've had lots of coffee. Getting a little bit I wouldn't say rambly because I can't think of any words. I don't know. It's 3 a.m. I've got a 3 a.m. brain at the moment. Yeah, so we'll aim for 9 o'clock Wednesdays, your time. We'll aim for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because we did try last night or yesterday, and that was another trial that didn't really work. So we're a day late this week. But yeah, once a week, guys. Now that we've got it happening, it's working. Yeah, this has been fantastic, Desert. I love it. I love participating. I love being able to give you another outlet. Because like I've heard you say many times, nobody is talking about this. Some people have the idea, they can see it, but nobody is talking about this the way that you are talking about this. And you've done the work and you've been rewarded and you've been given the download, and it needs to be shared.
Because you at least have enough drive to recognize your own challenges in life and the nature and you figured out enough about this world. You called the air traffic control tower to try to give a heads up, and they go after you, and the rest is history, as they say, and it brings you to this arena. So I know the Father saw you were being persecuted, and therefore this avenue was to help you on your journey and not to be left in a fog, like so many other people are. So we have a lot to give thanks for.
Well, yes. Let there be light. Let there be lots of light. Yeah, pure light. Lots of pure light. Okay, okay. We might wind it down then, Desert.
Right.
Yeah, before Ninja loses her giggles and starts getting emotional.
You got my contact information. That's all right.
Yeah. Do you want to? Because I don't have it in front of me. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they want to go to the website that was my radio network, now Radio Museum, they can go to therealpublicradio.net. The THE is in front. Therealpublicradio.net, all one word. And then there's if they want a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary on PDF, 300 pages, 8.5 by 11. I did that in 2011. They can get a copy of that. Any size donation, the PayPal button is there. Or if they want to get a copy of the Book of Wisdom, it's in the next to final draft, but it's all readable. It's all good to go on PDF. They can get that for any size donation as well. Book of Wisdom is the greatest book of wisdom ever written by the great uncle of Yeshua, Joseph of Arimathea. And I'm back at it now that we've got our work program. I'm going to start doing the most important transliteration of our scriptures in modern time, not based on the Greek or the Hebrew, but based on original thought, the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, the Aramaic that was breathed into the dawn, based on symbol, and then the Ashavor that comes out of the parent root forms that are primary and that reveal the light. We're going full circle with the revelation that Yeshua is bringing. This was all his purpose and intention to, at the end, bring back the light that they hid from us by controlling our scriptures and the Ashavors, the words, the control of mankind, the mind control they put us through. If anybody wants to call by phone, then it's here in the U.S., 608-566-7295, 608-566-7295, and international callers can call on Skype anytime. All one word, Free America Radio. Free America Radio still says Kingsland, Georgia, but I am in Millersburg, Ohio. Okay, Free America Radio. Love to hear from anybody out there, and we're looking for support for the translation project. And if you want to get samples of how we're doing it, I have another dictionary that's most recent, 100 pages, and a sample of the original gospel work that we're doing. That also is available. So we're here to serve. And if you don't have funny money, to make a the great breath, the Holy Spirit, and the Aisha Sphere, these are words that they've corrupted. Spirit is Aisha Sphere. The Sphere, that we can see a spear, as they want to give you the spirit. They want to give you the spear in the corrupted form, but it is a sphere, a ray of light that comes down. That's the original. That's why a spear represents the ray of light, because it's a shining tip and a long line, and it represents the light. That's the Sphere. That's why the word spirit comes from it. So, lots to talk about, Ninja, and so I look forward to every Wednesday being with you and sharing together. And maybe somebody out there would also like to do an interview. I'm willing to do another one with anybody out there. I'm here to answer questions. I've already done my research. I've answered most of my questions. I'm now here to serve and to answer other people's questions that they don't have. There's no time to figure this stuff out. We just need to put it on the table so that we can know what to do and who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and how short our time really is. Like we're talking about months. We have months left on this planet. It appears to be true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ninja. Yeah.
Thank you, Desert. Thank you for existing. Seriously. It's getting pretty serious and very, very real, and time is very, very short. We can all feel it. Just in the last week, I've been feeling the ground vibrate. I didn't realise. I thought it was just part of the targeting, which we'll get into another day. But it was the ground under my feet vibrating. This world's going down, and the good news is we have Dezert-Owl, who can share his knowledge and help us get through it and not go down with this world the way it's going. So, on a lighter note, wows and giggles. I can't think of anything else to say. I loved this. I loved this so much, and I'm absolutely, Aussie word here, absolutely stoked. STOKED. Absolutely stoked that it's finally working. It's taken weeks to get this going, and there's going to be many more. We're doing it. We're going to help as many as we can and share as much information as we can in the little time that we have left. And, okay. Yeah. Love you guys very much. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Please come back next week. I will have had a bit more practice by then. I'm gonna practice a bit, Desert. I'm gonna do some casual live streams.
And everybody write down some questions.
Yeah. I haven't mastered Skype yet, guys. I'm not that techie either. So we welcome as many questions as possible. Desert has already said he loves answering questions. So anything you think of, just write it down throughout the week, and then you can come back and ask in the chat, and Desert will be happy to answer. Right, Desert?
No worries, Ninja.
Okay. Sorry?
We'll look for you on the side then, okay? And thank you.
Yeah, okay. We'll wind it down.
Good day, mate.
G'day. No worries.
Talk to you on the side.
Okay.
See you on my program.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Peace and light. Okay, so that was Dezert-Owl. Wow. I feel like I'm interviewing a celebrity. I'll have to look that word up or ask Desert. Okay, I'm going to say bye now. Love you guys. I'll leave you with some music, and we'll all talk next week. Okay, be safe. Bye. As soon as I figure out how to put the music back on.